Level 1, the applicant. You are sitting in a government waiting room on a Wednesday morning. The chairs are bolted to the floor. There is a number in your hand, printed on a small paper ticket, and the number is 114. You have been here since 7. You have $312 in your account, and rent is due in 9 days. You did not grow up wanting this. You wanted something with your hands, or with your voice, or with a guitar. But none of that pays, and this does. The posting said, stable salary, full benefits, public service, no experience required. You circled it in pen at your kitchen table at 2 in the morning, and the circle is the reason you are here. A door opens. A woman with a lanyard calls a number that is not yours. You watch the man stand up. He is older than you, tired in the shoulders, and he walks through the door like a man walking toward food. You understand him completely. You are him in 15 years, if nothing changes. That thought should scare you. Instead, it makes you sit up straighter. They call 114. You go in. The interview is 4 questions long, and none of them are about you. They ask if you can keep a schedule. They ask if you can keep your mouth shut. They ask if you have ever been arrested, and you say no. And they write something down anyway. The last question is the only one that lingers. The man across the desk does not look up from his folder. He asks quietly, whether you believe most people, deep down, are doing something wrong. You think it is a trick. You say no. He finally looks at you, and there is something almost kind in it. He says, you'll learn. Then he signs the bottom of the page and slides it toward you, and you sign under his signature, and the pen is heavier than a pen should be. You walk out into the cold with a start date and a sense of relief so large it feels like joy. You will be paid. You will be safe. You have no idea what you just agreed to watch. Level 2, the monitor. You are 19 days into the job, and your whole world has shrunk to a wall of screens. There are 42 of them in front of you, arranged in a grid, and your job is to watch them. Not all at once. The system flags what matters and brings it to the center monitor, and you confirm. A man crossing a street outside a market. A woman waiting too long at a bus stop. A boy spray painting a wall behind a school. You log the time, you tag the location, you move on. The pay is exactly what they promised, and it lands in your account every 2 weeks like a heartbeat. You buy a better mattress. You pay the rent early just to feel what that feels like. Your mother is proud in a way that embarrasses you both. When people at family dinners ask what you do, you say you work for the city, in data. It is technically true. The word surveillance never comes up, and you're grateful, because the word would change their faces. Here is the rule they teach you in the first week, and it is the only rule that matters at this level. You are not deciding anything. You are only recording. The decisions happen above you, in rooms you have never seen, made by people whose names you do not know. You are a pair of eyes attached to a salary. This is comforting. It lets you watch a man get followed home and feel nothing, because the following is not yours. You only saw it. But late one night, near the end of a double shift, the center screen brings you a face you recognize. It is a girl you went to school with. She is standing outside a pharmacy, arguing with someone on the phone, crying. The system has flagged her for something, a pattern, a location, a contact. You are supposed to log it. Your cursor sits over the button. For the first time, the watching is not abstract. It has a name you remember from a classroom 15 years ago. You log it anyway. You tell yourself it is nothing. You go home and you do not sleep. And you understand, dimly, that something in you moved tonight, and that it will not move back. Level 3, the Analyst. They promote you because you are reliable, and reliability is the rarest thing they have. Now you do not just watch, you connect. You sit at a desk with 2 monitors and a pattern of human lives spread across them like a map. This person calls that person. That person visits this address. This address appears in a file from 3 years ago. You draw the lines. The lines become a picture. The picture becomes a name on a list, and the list goes upstairs, and you never find out what happens to the name. You are good at this. That is the thing nobody warned you about. You are genuinely, frighteningly good at it. You can look at a month of someone's ordinary movements and feel the shape of their secret before you can prove it. A man who takes a different route home on Thursdays, a woman who buys 2 phones, a family that goes quiet for exactly 11 days every spring. You find the 11 days. You find what they were hiding, and it turns out to be grief. A dead child, an anniversary they could not bear to be tracked through. You write it up regardless, because the system does not have a column for grief, only for anomaly. Your salary crosses a threshold that month. You move to a better apartment, higher up, with a view. You notice you have started to enjoy the height. You like seeing the street from above. You like being the one who sees, and not the one who is seen. When you ride the train now, you find yourself reading the other passengers. Who is nervous? Who is hiding? Who is lying to the person beside them? You cannot turn it off. The job has installed itself behind your eyes. The hidden cost arrives quietly, the way the real costs always do. You realize one evening that you have stopped trusting anyone. Not because of anything they did. Because you know now how easy it is to build a damning picture of an innocent person out of nothing but their ordinary Tuesdays. You know, because you do it every day. And if you can do it to strangers, then somewhere, someone with your job is doing it to you. Level 4, the officer. They take you out of the building. This is the promotion everyone fears and everyone wants, because it comes with a car, a higher grade, and a badge you can hold in your hand. You are no longer behind the screens. You are the reason the screens exist. You go to the addresses now. You knock on the doors. The first knock is the one you remember forever. A small apartment on the 9th floor. A man in his 50s opens the door in an undershirt. And the moment he sees your badge, his whole body changes. The shoulders, the breathing, the eyes that go to his children's room and then back to you. You are there about a financial irregularity. A thing he probably did out of desperation. A thing that under any sane system would be a conversation. You ask your questions. He answers them too fast, then too slow. His wife stands in the kitchen doorway with a dish towel in her hands and does not move the entire time. When you leave, you hear the chain slide across the door behind you, and you understand that you are now the thing that locks itself out of people's homes at night. The money is real now. You are making more than your father ever did. You buy your mother the thing she always wanted and could not name, and she cries, and you let her believe it came from honest work. And in your mind, you have stopped using the word honest about yourself at all. You have started drinking a little in the evenings, just enough to flatten the day. You tell yourself everyone does. The rule at this level is the cruelest one yet. And they deliver it casually, over coffee. From a supervisor who has done this for 20 years. He tells you, never let them see you as a person. And never see them as one either. The moment you see the man in the undershirt as a man, you stop being able to do the job. So you learn to look at a frightened human being and see a file. You get good at that too. And every time you do it, a small light somewhere inside you goes out. And you do not notice the room getting darker. Because it happens one bulb at a time. Level 5, the handler. Now you run people. This is the level where the system stops being about cameras and starts being about hearts, because the most powerful surveillance ever invented is a frightened person who will inform on the ones they love. You recruit your first source in a parking garage. He is a young man who got caught at something small, and you offer him a way out, and the way out is to tell you about his friends. He says no. He says it with real dignity, and for a moment you respect him more than you have respected anyone in months. Then you lay the file on the dashboard between you. What you have, what you can do with it, what happens to his mother's residency if he walks away. And you watch the dignity drain out of his face and something colder pour in. He says yes. He hates you. He will tell you everything. You drive home and you do not turn on the radio. You sit in your good apartment with your good view, and you realize you have become very, very good at finding the exact point where a person breaks. Everyone has one. A child, a debt, a secret, a fear. You collect these points the way other people collect keys, and you carry them. And they are heavier than any of the cameras ever were. The cost at this level is the worst yet, and it is this. You can no longer be loved without calculating it. You meet someone. She is warm and funny, and she does not work in your world. For 3 months, you are almost happy. Then one night she leaves her phone on the table, and you feel your own hand move toward it, automatically, the way it moves toward a flagged screen. And you stop yourself, and you look at your hand like it belongs to a stranger. You realize you will never again be able to trust your own affection, because you have been trained to see every person as a vulnerability waiting to be opened. You do not call her again. It is easier. The job has made being alone feel like the only safe state. Level 6, the architect. They bring you inside, not just inside the building, inside the design. You are in the rooms now, the ones you used to imagine when you were a monitor confirming flags at 3 in the morning. The people here do not knock on doors. They decide which doors get knocked on. They do not watch the screens. They decide what the screens look for. You are handed a problem. The system is missing things. People are slipping through. And you, with your gift for patterns, are asked to make the net finer. To add a category. To flag a new kind of behavior. You sit in a meeting where a colleague proposes that certain words spoken near certain microphones should automatically raise a person's risk score, and the room nods, and you nod. And somewhere in the city, a teenager complaining about the government to his friends becomes a number going up. You did that? Not the colleague. You, with your nod. The money is no longer the point. You are past the point where money means anything. You have more than you spend, and what you buy now is comfort you do not feel. The point is the work itself, the elegance of it. You have started to find the system beautiful. This is the most dangerous thing that has happened to you yet. Worse than the drinking, worse than the lying. You have begun to admire the machine you serve. You see a clean data set and feel something close to peace. The rule here is unspoken and total. The system is never wrong, only incomplete. When an innocent person is destroyed by a false pattern, the lesson is never that the pattern was cruel. The lesson is that the pattern needed more data. You learn to say this with a straight face. You learn to believe it. And the part of you that once logged a crying girl outside a pharmacy and could not sleep. That part is so far down now that you would need a search of your own to find it. Level 7, the isolated. You look up one day and realize you have no one left. Your mother died 18 months ago, and you found out about the funeral arrangements through a calendar notification, because you had stopped calling and she had stopped expecting you to. The woman who was warm and funny married someone else. You know this, because God help you. You looked. The colleagues around you are not friends. They are mirrors, and you do not like what they reflect. So you keep them at the distance of professionals. You live high above the city in an apartment that a magazine would call enviable. It has everything except a single object that someone gave you out of love. Everything in it you bought yourself, alone, online, late at night. You eat standing up. You sleep with the screens on, because silence has started to sound like accusation. The system has done to you exactly what it does to everyone it touches. It has separated you from every person who could see you clearly, because clear sight is the one thing the system cannot tolerate. It surrounded you with watchers and called them co-workers. It paid you enough to live anywhere and gave you no one to live with. You used to think the people on the screens were the prisoners. You understand now that the watcher is the most watched person in the building. By the cameras, by the colleagues, by the part of his own mind that never, ever stops scanning the room. You try, once, to talk to someone outside the work about how you feel. You get one sentence in before you watch their face start to change, the way the man in the undershirt's face changed, and you stop. You make it into a joke. You go home. You understand that your loneliness is now permanent, structural, designed, not a flaw in your life, but a feature of the machine, the cost it always intended to extract, written into the contract you signed under a stranger's signature with a pen that was too heavy. Level 8, the hunted. The paranoia does not arrive. It was always there. It just takes off its disguise. You begin to notice your own surveillance. A car that is on your street too often. A new colleague who asks too specific questions about an old case. Your access to certain files quietly downgraded, with no explanation, the way you once downgraded others. You know what this means, because you have done it. When the system starts to wonder about someone, it does not warn them. It studies them. And the studying feels exactly like the ordinary days, right up until the moment it doesn't. You start doing the things you used to flag. You take a different route home. You leave your phone in a drawer when you talk. You buy a second one with cash and feel a sick electric thrill of recognition, because you are now the man who buys 2 phones. The anomaly. The 11 quiet days in spring. You have become the pattern you spent a decade hunting. The net you made finer is closing around you, and you cannot loosen it, because you made it too well. You stop sleeping. You drink more. You sit at your good window above the city, and watch the street the way you once watched the screens, and you cannot tell anymore whether you are the watcher or the watched. And you suspect the answer is that there was never a difference. Everyone in the system is both. That is the secret at the center of it. There is no top floor where the watching stops. It is watchers all the way up, each one certain they are safe, because they are higher, each one wrong. One morning, your badge does not open the door. It opened yesterday. You stand there in the corridor with your good shoes and your heavy heart, and you press it again, and the light stays red. And somewhere a camera you cannot see logs the time and tags the location and moves on. Level 9, the reckoning. They do not arrest you. That would be a kind of honesty, and the system does not deal in honesty. Instead, they reassign you. Downward. Sideways. To a basement office with one screen and a stack of files that mean nothing. The bureaucratic equivalent of a slow death. And you understand that this is the punishment. Not prison, not exposure, but erasure. You are being unpromoted out of existence, one access level at a time, the same way you once unpersoned the man in the undershirt. In the quiet of the basement, with nothing left to climb toward, you finally do the thing you have avoided for 15 years. You look back. You see the waiting room with the bolted chairs. You see the crying girl outside the pharmacy whose anomaly you logged because there was no column for mercy. You see the man whose dignity you watched drain into the dashboard light. You see your mother's funeral as a calendar notification. You see the woman you never called. You add it up. Not as data, for once, but as a life. And the sum is unbearable. You understand, sitting in that basement, that the system never asked you to become a monster. That would have been refusable. It asked you to become reasonable, one reasonable step at a time, and reasonableness is the road that has no point where you can say, "Here, this is where I should have turned back." There was no door marked evil. There was only the next promotion, the next nod, the next light going out, and a salary that arrived every 2 weeks like a heartbeat, paying you to not feel the room getting dark. You think about the 4 questions in the interview. You remember the last one. He asked whether you believed most people, deep down, are doing something wrong. You said no. He said you'll learn. And you did. But the thing you learned was not about most people. It was about you. Level 10, the ghost. In the end, they let you go. Not dramatically. Your contract simply is not renewed, and your badge is collected. And a man you have never met walks you to a door. And then you are outside in the cold with a small box of your own belongings and no number in your hand. You are free, and freedom is the loneliest thing you have ever felt. You move to a smaller place on a lower floor where you cannot see the street. You do not sleep better. You still read every room you enter. You still find the breaking point of every stranger on the train, automatically, against your will. A skill that will not leave a body that no longer has any use for it. You are a watcher with nothing left to watch. A handler with no one left to run. A pattern that the system has finished with and discarded. You have become exactly what you spent a career creating, a person reduced to a closed file, complete, archived, of no further interest. You see your old face sometimes in the dark glass of the train window, and you do not recognize the man you started as. The one with the guitar he never learned. The one who said no. Deep down, most people are not doing something wrong. That man signed a paper for a salary and a sense of safety, and the system gave him both. And then it spent 15 years teaching him that safety was the bait, and the salary was the hook, and that the only thing he was ever truly free to do was the one thing he did at the very beginning. He sat down. He took the number. He agreed to watch. You are no one now. The system does not miss you. It has already replaced you. It replaced you the moment you walked out. With someone younger. Someone reliable. Someone who needs the money and circled the posting at 2 a.m. at a kitchen table that looks exactly like yours used to look. And here is the full circle. In a government waiting room on a Wednesday morning, the chairs are bolted to the floor. A young woman sits with a paper ticket in her hand, and the number on it is 114. She has been here since 7. She has a few $100s in her account and rent due in 9 days. She did not grow up wanting this. She wanted something with her hands, or her voice. But none of that pays. And this does. A door opens. They call her number. She stands up and walks toward it like a person walking toward food, and the man across the desk does not look up from his folder. He asks if she can keep a schedule. He asks if she can keep her mouth shut. And then, quietly, he asks the last question. Whether she believes that most people, deep down, are doing something wrong. She thinks it is a trick. She says no. He finally looks up at her, and there is something almost kind in it. She has no idea what she just started.